Today's story is a reinterpretation of the latest chapter of One Piece. The setting is once again God Valley. But this time, we shed a slightly different light on the events we already know. On the dramatic stage, members of a minority tribe are dragged into the spotlight. Among them a young boy and his mother. That boy was none other than Teach, who would one day shake the seas as Blackbeard. In the eyes of the celestial dragons, they were no longer human but mere playthings. Weapons and insults were hurled onto the stage, trampling their lives without mercy. The young Teach instinctively tried to protect his mother. But in the end, it was she who shielded him, taking the full brunt of the celestial dragon's violence. This scene foreshadows how Teach grew up in an environment defined by pure survival instinct. Soon after, the dreadful game known as the Hunt of the Gods begins. Countless faces flash across the scene: young Kuma and Ivankov. Among them as the celestial dragon's cruel form of entertainment unfolds. When a celestial dragon targets Kuma, dragon can no longer restrain his fury. He strikes to protect Kuma, revealing the first glimpse of the resolve that would one day make him the leader of the revolutionary army. The scene then shifts to the Rock's pirates. Amidst the swirling chaos, Dragon moves quietly. What he rescues are two newborn twins. And this moment shows Dragon not just as a man consumed by anger, but as a thinker who makes deliberate choices for the sake of future generations. Then comes the entrance of the Roger pirates, followed by the full appearance of the Holy Knights, plunging the stage into further turmoil. The bizarre forms of these knights suggest they might not simply be a combat unit but rather experimental creations. A Yeti-like figure with wings and horns, and a cigar-smoking woman with streaked hair and sharp fangs stand out with striking individuality, teasing future developments. Outside, the Marines falter under the flood of pirates. But the arrival of Garp's forces from the sky turns the tide. His mighty fist of the king sweeps away enemies in a single strike, and the Marines push into the island's interior. Thus, the Battle of God Valley becomes a stage of unprecedented conflict, intertwining personal histories with the hidden secrets of the world. What makes this chapter particularly intriguing is the strong implication that Teach is not merely a pirate, but connected to Kuma through their bloodline, the Buccaneer tribe. This isn't just an expansion of lore, but rather the unveiling of a long-planted seed by Oda. The fact that Blackbeard's historical namesake, Edward Teach, was tied to the word Buccaneer, and that Oda specifically chose to use that very term as the name of a rare tribe, is unlikely to be a coincidence. Oda has always embedded meaning into names, and this link is further proof of his meticulous storytelling. Furthermore, the missing teeth shared between Teach and Kuma is noteworthy. After suffering abuse, Kuma appears with several teeth gone, while Teach's ever-changing tooth gaps sparked long-standing debate among fans. These irregularities may not be mistakes at all, but rather signs of a shared tribal trait. Even Oda's earlier depiction of Davy Jones showed him missing teeth, strengthening the pattern. In addition, Teach's possession of the Yami Yami no Mi, a devil fruit with uniquely harsh drawbacks, ties directly into this theory. While most humans would collapse under its amplified pain, Teach endured and rose to become an emperor. This feat is only plausible if he had the extraordinary resilience of the Buccaneers. His monstrous durability is explained not by luck but by lineage, and this may prove to be the key to understanding the even greater mystery of his ability to wield multiple devil fruits. Yet one crucial question remains. Is Teach's ability to consume multiple devil fruits also a trait of the Buccaneer tribe? This is a point that requires careful examination. In Kuma's flashback, we learn the origins of the Buccaneers. The statement that they carry the blood of giants reveals that their massive physiques are tied to giant DNA. The troubling part is that this may not be the result of natural ancestry, but rather artificial creation. As Trafalgar Law once noted, the world government has researched gigantification for centuries. If so, the Buccaneers might have been the very product of such experiments, a new race engineered by the world government. If this hypothesis is correct, the very existence of the Buccaneers is an inconvenient truth for the world government. The soldiers they created turned against their makers, embracing the legend of Nika, the sun god. This betrayal would indeed be an unforgivable crime in the eyes of the rulers. As a result, the Buccaneers likely faced near extinction. And it was in this crucible of oppression that Kuma's tragedy and Teach's twisted survival instinct were forged. But then, what of Teach's unique ability to eat multiple devil fruits? Here, the figure of Whitebeard provides a clue. Sharing a root in the historical Edward Teach, Whitebeard displays physical similarities to Kuma and possesses traits reminiscent of the Buccaneers. Even Alvida once compared Kuma's stature to Whitebeard's, implying they belonged in the same category of physical giants. The turning point comes during Marineford, when Teach absorbs Whitebeard's powers. Marco is stunned and exclaims that Teach's body is unique, abnormal. If multiple fruit consumption were a racial trait, Marco, who served at Whitebeard's side for decades, would not have been shocked. His reaction makes it clear that this ability stems not from the Buccaneer lineage, but from something singular within Teach himself, his aberrant body structure. Thus, the conclusion is that Teach's ability to wield multiple fruits is unrelated to his tribe. The Buccaneers grant endurance, resilience, and colossal might, but not the capacity for multiple powers. Teach's deformed body remains a medical anomaly, one of the greatest unsolved mysteries in One Piece. This is likely to become a pivotal revelation when his full backstory is finally revealed. The message of this chapter is therefore clear. Teach's resilience comes from the Buccaneer bloodline, but his greatest enigma, his multiple fruits, remains unexplained. Oda has always planted subtle seeds to bloom much later. And this link between Teach and the Buccaneers is one such seed, awaiting its full payoff. Another fascinating point is that both Teach and Kuma are tied to the theme of liberation. Kuma, who fought alongside the Revolutionary Army, directly sought freedom. Teach, by contrast, embodies chaos through piracy, yet still undermines the order of the world government. Though their paths diverge, both are disruptors of the existing system. This suggests that the Buccaneers are more than a physical powerhouse, they are a people destined to clash with authority. Finally, the so-called crime of the Buccaneers deserves attention. It may have been their status as artificially created beings, or it may have been their unwavering faith in Nika. Perhaps it was both. The greatest weapon ever made by the government, embracing the most dangerous ideology. This would indeed be the unforgivable sin. In this light, Teach is not just an ambitious pirate. He may be the inheritor of a hidden history of human experimentation, betrayal, and rebellion. His Yami Yami no Mi is not merely a weapon, but a catalyst that magnifies these truths. Ultimately, One Piece is not only a tale of adventure, but also of the world's concealed history of creation, oppression, and the choices of those born from it. And so, we return to the Battle of God Valley. Rocks, Roger, the Marines, the Holy Knights, even the seeds of the Revolutionary Army all converged in one place. This was not merely a skirmish, but a revelation, a watershed moment shaping the destiny of every major player. And within it lay the heaviest foreshadowing of all, the question of Teach's identity and origins. This chapter may well be Oda's very first answer to that enduring mystery. This wraps up today's analysis. Thanks for tuning in, and we'll dive deeper again in the next episode.